Okay. I want us to begin with today with um, testing techniques that we're going to look into today. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on presentation mode?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, yes, Harold presenting, and today we're going to be looking at the testing techniques overview. As we all know, in software development lifecycle, and also as it relates to the part that we are all concerned with, which is the testing phase of the development lifecycle. In testing, there is something that we call 100% testing is impractical. There's no way you can actually do 100% testing. So what that means is that we have to come up with different techniques that will make us to, at the same time, have a higher coverage of the functionality of all the features or functionalities of the application. So today we're going to be looking at the different types of techniques, that is being employed in the industry. So first and foremost, let's look at what is test techniques. So test techniques, are systematic method. Sorry, let me just draw it down. A systematic method employed to ensure comprehensive and efficient testing of software systems. These techniques help identify and prioritize areas to be tested. It also specifies inputs and outputs, and also determine when tests are successful. So by leveraging test techniques, testers can better detect defects, verify requirements, and confirm the system's functionality with reduced redundancy and higher coverage. So we're going to look at the main types of testing techniques, okay? Black box testing techniques, we have, as a matter of fact, if we're curious enough to look at the present version of the 𝐖𝐈𝐓𝐇, it has been beautifully, improved, and there are a whole lot of additional information that you can find there. Previously, there wasn't any syllable that has to do with BDD, shift left, CI/CD, and also user stories, and acceptance criteria. So in the latest 𝐼STQB, so those topics have been incorporated into the syllabus, which makes it very, very beautiful. So and that one of those topics has to do with the collaboration-based test approach. So some of the main types of testing techniques are black box testing, white box testing techniques, experience-based test techniques, and collaboration-based test approach. So let's define what is, in a high level, what is black box test techniques. So the black box testing techniques focus on testing software functionality without needing to understand the internal code. So testers examine inputs and outputs based on requirements, ensuring that the software behaves as expected. Now, what that means is that, when we are testing applications, we don't want to know what codes, that the developers use in coding those particular functionalities or whatever we are testing or the application we are testing. So all we need to do is just to feed in input into the system, and it gives us the output, and that's it. Whatever is being done or what is going on in under the hood within that application. To us, we don't want to know. We cannot seem to know about it. Okay, so and that also gives us, a kind of, you know, for you to have this opportunity and to think out of the box. Do you understand? To also come up with a lot of testing strategies, to test to make sure, that particular application is fully covered when it comes to test coverage. So black box techniques is a technique that is mostly and mainly peculiar with we testers, Okay. So, and there are different ways which we can carry out this black box test techniques. And those four ways are equivalent partitioning, boundary value analysis, decision table testing, and state transition testing. And we will look at this, individually. So we look at equivalent partitioning. So equivalent partitioning is a black box test design technique used to reduce the number of test cases by dividing input data into groups, that's partition, that are expected to behave the same. Each partition represents a set of value or invalid inputs that are treated similarly by the application. Testing just one representative value from each partition can help identify errors while reducing redundancy. Okay, so also we look at equivalent partitioning also as a volume testing. Imagine, for example, a hotel booking system where users enter their age to verify eligibility for a discount. So what that means, if you look at the way I define the partitions based on the eligibility criteria, you can easily create a partitions between these ages of people that qualify or the ages that qualify, within that bracket of the eligibility for a discount, you see. For example, there will be different discount for different age range. That's what equivalent partitioning entails. For example, you would not, as a matter of fact, give the same discount to the children that are between the ages of year 1 and year 17. Okay, there will be different discounts allocated for that group, and you look at the adult too from 18 to 64. There's a standard discount that you will give. Then from age 65 and above, there's also eligible, this age range are eligible for a senior discount. So you see how you can be able to test, because the idea of you testing individual age, is going to take time, and that one is going to be impractical. So the way we test, we just conduct, this kind of equivalent partitioning in order for us to pick from these age groups or age ranges, then just do our test. And that particularly will cover, from a particular age group to the certain age group that, you partition this age range to be. Okay. And that's pretty much about equivalent partitioning, and we use this. This is one of the two, how would I say, blackboard testing techniques that we normally use, or testing techniques that we normally use to create or design our test cases, And this is very, very, very important to us, the testers, equivalent partitioning, how we partition, our test cases in order for us to make good coverage of the application on that test is very, very important. So we have another testing techniques, boundary value analysis. So boundary value analysis is the black box testing techniques. that focuses on testing the boundaries of input ranges, rather than testing values in the middle. So these techniques operate under the assumption that errors often occur at the edges of input domains, where inputs just inside and outside boundaries reveal potential issues. What that means is that, errors tends to be at the edge of every, would I say, any features that you are testing. Okay. If you are, and that kind of error would definitely occur, is so prevalent in the input domain testing. For example, when you have a text box to enter, you find out that your console is breaking, which is the focus. You might find out that that console must have shifted, one step, forward. And you might think because that particular text box is blank, meaning everything is okay. But one thing we need to observe in some certain applications is that when that console shifts forward a little bit, that particular space is counted as a data. That's why I think in SQL, when you say no, this particular column is no. That does not mean it is blank or it is empty. It has a value, and that value is blank. So with respect to boundary value analysis, you can use it to capture that particular situation and raise a bug, And also, this boundary value analysis, gives you, when you're writing your test cases, for example, when we have our acceptance criteria, which says that, when you are writing your password shouldn't be less than 7 or 8, shouldn't be less than 8, and shouldn't be more than 14. So you can test, the edges, and find that and just create your test cases, within that edge of, okay, test for 7 if that particular password text box will accept it, or test for 15 characters if that particular text box will accept it. So when we are having to write test cases in such a manner, we are actually employing the idea of boundary value analysis. Okay? So how boundary value analysis works. In boundary value analysis, you identify the boundaries, minimum and maximum values, just as I've been explaining, of input feeds and test just inside, at, and just outside this boundary. For example, if a valid input range is between 8 and 14, then BVA for a short would suggest testing with values like 7, 8, 15, 14, and 15. This approach helps reveal potential edge case bugs that would be missed by only testing within the range. Okay? So boundary value analysis is also regarded as length testing. So in the example above, BVA ensures the system validates the length requirement, checking how it responds to input exactly at and just outside the boundaries. So this focused testing approach is efficient and likely to uncover issues in boundary-related validation, such as incorrect handling of too short or too long passwords. Okay. So we have decision table testing. So the third testing techniques within the black box testing techniques is decision table testing. It is a black box test design technique that organizes complex business rules, conditions, and corresponding actions into table format. This technique is particularly helpful when you have multiple conditions and outcomes, as it helps map out all possible scenarios, ensuring comprehensive test coverage. So the table consists of conditions, okay, input or situations that may affect the outcome. and also actions, the outcomes or system responses based on the condition. So each unique combination of condition values corresponds to a rule or scenario, which is then tested individually. This is how it works, okay? For example, we identify condition. For example, let's say a list of all the input conditions or criteria relevant to that system. You will see it with the graph I'm about to show. Then also we define our actions. So what this means is that we determine the possible actions or responses of the system. Then we will now create rules. For example, generate all possible combinations of conditions and assign the corresponding actions for each combination. Then what we'll do last is that we'll design tests. So this test is a unique rule that represents a test case to be executed. For example, this one will give us a better understanding of what we think or what we are looking at. Consider, for example, let's consider an online shopping cart system where discounts are applied based on two conditions. The discounts are applied based on two conditions. The first condition is that the loyal member status, right? Whether the customer is a loyal member or not. Then the second condition is purchase amount, whether the purchase amount exceeds 100. If you look at the decision table, for example, the loyal members, purchase amount greater than $100, then that particular loyal member will have a discount of 10% applied. Then, of course, that particular loyal member will also enjoy free shipping of that particular product. Okay, so if also the loyal member made a purchase of any amount that is less than 100, is going to get 5% discount, but there's not going to be free shipping for that particular loyal member. So if you are not a loyal member and you make a purchase of more than 100%, or more than $100, you're going to get a discount of 5%, and you're going to have a free shipping. But if you are not a loyal member and you did not make any purchase above $100, then you're going to have a zero discount applied, and you're not going to have, a free shipping of that particular product. So if you see carefully, if you observe carefully, this is how we also derive our test cases, how we design our test cases by using a blackboard testing technique called decision table testing. So you can easily create your test cases to cover all scenarios, with respect to, the two conditions that, I highlighted here. Okay? So this is a very good way of, collaborating with also the SQL, guys to write your test case with this. You can easily just write your test cases by using decision table techniques to write. Okay. So the fourth one within the blackboard testing techniques is what we call state transition testing. And state transition testing is a blackboard technique as well that is used to validate the behavior of a system as it moves from one state to another in response to different events or input. This technique is particularly valuable for systems with finite states, where each state change is influenced by specific conditions, such as user actions or system events. In state transition testing, testers examine each state and the triggers that cause a transition to other states. You know, and you know, this particular testing techniques, verify that the system transitions to the correct state upon receiving an expected input. So the system behaves correctly, should behave correctly in each state. How state transition testing, works. For example, how this works is that let's take an ATM, for example, ATM machine. When we go to the ATM, when we go to the ATM machine, what do we do first? We, look at is in an idle state, okay? What it does is that, when we slot in our card, right? What does it do? It comes up with different functions for us to make a defined decision, okay? Then, for example, this particular page will give us a vivid scenario of how state transition testing occurs. When we kind of approach an ATM machine, these are the various states of activity that occur. First and foremost, when we go to the ATM is always idle, right? And so the machine is waiting for a card to be inserted. And when the machine prompts the user to enter their PIN, okay, the user is authenticated and can select transactions, whether you want to withdraw your cash or you want to view your balance. So whichever transaction that you do at that time, the transaction is complete and the card is injected. So what that means is that if you slot in your card and you give the correct PIN, it's going to ask you if you're going to, so you can imagine it transitions to another state. It's going to give a prompt for you to withdraw a cash, or you want to view your balance and every other activities you want to perform. That is another state, okay? But peradventure, you decide to withdraw a cash, it's going to give you options. That's another state it is transitioning into. Options if you want to withdraw £10, £20, or £30. Then when you make your choice, it's going to transition to another state of making sure the right amount that you selected is the right cash that is going to dispense to you. And it's going to further ask you if you're going to continue or not. So that is a different state that is transitioning into. Okay, what about if you, in the first place, you slot in, you insert your card and it prompts you to give your PIN and you give a wrong PIN? It's going to ask you again that that's the wrong PIN, you should try again. And when you try again, you give a wrong PIN. It's going to prompt you again to give the right PIN because you've given the wrong PIN. And it has already been programmed as to how many times it's going to prompt you to give the right PIN. What about if it is a program to prompt you for 4 times and the 4 consecutive time you give your PIN, what would you expect the ATM to do? Can someone just give me an answer to that? Hello? Are we listening?
Yes, we are listening.
Okay.
Listening.
So if an ATM prompted you 4 times to give your right PIN and you didn't give your right PIN and it has been programmed to give you the fourth and the final prompt, what do you think the ATM would do?
You would seize the card.
Okay. And what would it do further? You have an idea. So it's going to seize the card and
You can
probably.
say that again, please.
Hello?
You can say that again, please.
I said, if you go to an ATM machine, right? And that ATM machine has been programmed like to give you 4 prompts to give the right pin. And at the 4th trial, you did not give the right pin. What does it do?
It will block you. If you're going for the 5th one, it will block you. The
Okay.
4th one is going to inform you,
Okay. Okay,
that
that's
the
absolutely correct, because it's going to block you and seize your card and put a hold on that particular account, and probably it will come up with a message that, okay, you should visit the customer service or customer desk, isn't it? That's the complete, if you go to a ATM machine and see, that's a complete scenario that plays out here in state transition testing. That's a state transition. The state is transitioning to another state. Do you understand? And that's one of the important testing techniques we will use to create our test case. Do you understand? Especially when you are dealing with banking application. Do you understand? And you are meant to test it, you are meant to write your test cases. One good testing techniques you would use is the state transition testing. It gives you ability for you to write your test cases very well, create those prompts if you want to give 4 or 5, and also to come up with the message the person would receive, as to how he will go about retrieving his card, because he has been the pin has been wrong that he has been given. Okay, that's completely a scenario that plays out with respect to state transition testing, and this is the testing techniques we normally use to do that. Okay, so the benefit of state transition testing is that there's a thorough coverage. You don't miss any of the states. Do you understand? There's a thorough coverage. So test every possible state and transition, covering both valid and invalid transaction. Also, these testing techniques prevent error. It helps find issues where transitions could fail, leading to incorrect system behavior. So it prevents that error, to make sure, all, transitions of states is well taken care of, Then it simplified test design, because you are mapping states and transitions, all together to clarify test cases and making complex logic easier to manage. Okay, just like in the ATM example, state transition testing helps ensure that the machine only allows access to transitions following successful authentication. That it handles errors appropriately. That's the invalid pin you are probably putting in there, and and also, it makes the whole transition process to be, correct, after each section, and thereby improving the overall system reliability and user experience. Okay. So let's move forward. So that's the 4 testing techniques under black box testing that we testers normally use in creating our test cases. The second, testing techniques is white box test techniques. Okay, so this white box testing techniques, also known as structural testing or glass box testing, is a software testing approach where the internal code structure, design, and implementation of the applications are known to the testers. Okay, the goal is to validate the logic of the code itself, not just the application's user interface or functionality. in white box testing, the tester needs a deep understanding of the code and can analyze and evaluate each logical path, condition, and loop within the program. Now, if we look at the definition very well, previously, testers, are not really keen in getting to know about white box testing. Okay, when before automation came into the market, testers were just concerned about black box testing. So because you don't need to know any internal codes on how Java is being coded, how Java is being designed, how the structure of the particular application is being designed by any programming language or any automation tools. It's just strictly manual testing that were done back in the days. But right now, we are encouraged to know about white box testing techniques. As a matter of fact, if you look at some of these jobs, they will tell you XDET, XDET, software development engineering test. So because right now we are going into automation and we are learning Java, Selenium, test engine, and other automation tool, it is very, very imperative and very, very important for us to know codes. We must learn Java, we must learn C#, we must learn Playwright or Selenium or Cucumber that will make us to be relevant in the market. So that means knowing the internal code structure, the design or the implementation of the application is a big deal to us right now, because when we are executing automation tests, we normally go to inspect the element, isn't it? I said isn't it? Sorry, you guys are here to be there. We normally go to the DOM, what they call the DOM, that's behind the system, to understand how that particular application is written, what kind of elements they have out there, and what programming language is used in writing that particular, application. So the testers now, we are not going, so many legs, further to learn codes, because it is part of what we do. It's part of our work right now. Do you understand? It's part of what we need to stay relevant in the market. So white box testing is not just, just for the programmers alone. We testers, we need to know more about, how a particular application is being designed, the internal code, so that we will know how to inspect, find the right elements, to also to automate our test. Do you understand? So white box testing is commonly used to, ensure that all possible paths and branches in the code are tested. It verifies the functionality of individual code modules and methods as well, okay? And also, let me put this one down. This one is really affecting my stuff. Sorry for that. So, white box testing is commonly also used to validate that internal operations work as expected and handle errors appropriately. Okay? So let's move forward. So white box test techniques, comes in 3 different scenarios. And these are the scenarios: the statement testing and statement coverage, the branch testing and branch coverage, and also the path testing. Okay, so we are not going to go into deep down of white box testing because it's out of scope for this lecture. As when we go further into practice proper, then we'll begin to look at the relevant aspect and areas of white box testing that is peculiar to us with testers. Then we'll begin to look at, codes that is relevant to the work we do. That should be core Java. If we're going to use core Java, it's just going to be the normal, easy to explain programming language. We're not going to go into advanced because we're not going to programming, So what that means is that we have to, emphasize more on blackboard testing and also look at the areas of whiteboard testing that is relevant to what we do as test automation engineers, rather than going to the nitty-gritty of whiteboard testing, because that was completely out of scope for us. Because blackboard testing is what we are mainly concerned about. But just to have a little bit of, or a little glimpse of whiteboard testing, look at the benefits of whiteboard testing. It creates code quality assurance. It ensures the code quality assurance ensures the code is thoroughly examined, making it more robust. Efficient error detection. Whiteboard test techniques, identifies logic errors early, reducing the need for major changes in later stages. Okay. And also, we'll look at the area of the benefit of security. It detects vulnerabilities and security risks as testers understand the logic behind each function. So in summary, whiteboard testing techniques are crucial for identifying and fixing issues within the code itself. By validating each line, branch, and path, this approach improves software reliability and optimizes performance, ensuring a strong foundation for the application's functionality and future testing. Okay, so we will look at the third aspect of testing techniques, which is the experience-based test techniques. So the experience-based testing techniques are testing methodologies that leverage the tester's knowledge, skills, and past experiences to design and execute tests. Instead of relying solely on formal specification or structured testing techniques, these approaches use the intuition and insights gained from previous testing efforts, domain knowledge, and familiarity with similar applications to identify test cases and potential problem areas. Now, there are some experts, even within BlueSky, that because of the years of, they've garnered, within the testing process and the testing environment, they can easily come up and write test plans and test cases and test scenarios. They can look at the application, they begin to write test scenarios and test plans. And they'll write test cases and even create test data to test. Some individuals are like that because they have spent a number of years, doing testing, So then they can easily create, user stories and test scenarios and test cases on the fly by looking at that application, and that is the experience and the skills you gain over a time, when you are involved in projects year in, year out, you begin to have this experience of, you would even query a requirement, you will even query requirements and user stories and make, significant contribution during, backlog grooming and during sprint planning. You can come up on the fly, with respect to acceptance criteria on how to test that application. You don't look at documents anymore. You don't look at how to create, test cases by using equivalent partitioning or boundary value analysis or using state transition testing, all those kind of things. They will just begin to create test cases on the fly, because of the years of experience, they have, gathered within that industry, okay? And that is the third aspect of that black box testing techniques, which is experience-based test techniques, okay? So the importance of experience-based testing, one is quick test design. These techniques allow for rapid test case creation, which can be beneficial in fast-paced development environment or when time is limited, especially when time is limited, okay? It focuses on real-world scenario. Testers can focus on scenarios that are more likely to occur in real usage, improving the relevance of the test, okay? Identifying edge cases, with this kind of test techniques, experienced testers often have a better understanding of edge cases or common pitfalls, allowing them to target potential weak points in the application. Okay? So incorporating user perspective, which is very, very important, Sorry for this. Sorry, missed the line. So Tesla can incorporate user behavior and needs based on their experience, leading to a more user-centric testing approach. And this is where the passion for these testers come in when it comes to usability testing, because they're able to relate, the requirement with the user expectations. Okay. So types of experience based test techniques, okay? Okay. They normally employ three types here, which is error guessing. They can easily guess error. These techniques involve testers using their knowledge and experience to predict where defects are likely to exist based on previous bugs or common issues in similar systems. So one of the other type is exploratory testing. A simultaneous learning, test design, and test execution process where testers explore the application without predefined test cases. The aim is to discover defects by exploring functionalities and workflows dynamically. And this is what we do when you don't have immediate requirements. So what you do, you just do exploratory testing, to uncover edge cases and also to create your test scenarios and your test cases, and begin to, design the the requirement for that particular application. Then checklist-based testing, This approach uses a predefined list of items or criteria that needs to be verified. Checklists are typically based on previous experiences, standard practice or domain knowledge. Okay, with this, when you are exploring that particular application, you begin to create checklists, to also, put on paper that, this particular scenarios you are creating needs to be verified as well. Okay. And the edge, or if I would say, what brings that confidence and that is the previous experiences that particular tester had, with respect to previous projects that he had engaged in. So the confidence is there, to create, test cases, create test data and to test that particular application on that test, with respect to this testing techniques. Okay. So we have the benefit of experience-based test techniques. It's cost effectiveness. Since these techniques often require less formal documentation and structure, they can save time and resources during the testing process. We have adaptability as one of the benefits of these particular testing techniques. They can be easily adapted to different projects or environment based on the tester's experience and insights. Okay? And also we have effective risk mitigation. So what that means is that, by focusing on areas with higher risks or historical issues, these techniques can help reduce the likelihood of critical defects going undetected. Okay, so let's move forward.
Sorry, I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, go ahead, please.
You can explain the base checklist again, please. I
Okay,
don't understand. Thank you.
is this page?
On the types of experience-based test technique.
No, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again? Sorry.
The third one, is it base checklist, you call it?
Okay, this one, checklist-based testing. That's the type of experience-based test techniques.
Okay. Checklist or checklist based. Please explain it again. Thank you.
You said I should explain it again?
Yeah, please.
Okay, now, as we said, one of the types of experience-based testing techniques is the checklist-based testing. So this approach uses a predefined list of items or criteria that need to be verified. The checklists are typically based on previous experience, standard practice, or domain knowledge. So what this means is that, for example, you want to test an application, a banking application, right? And you want to test the login. Because you've tested that particular application previously, so you have a checklist. You've already created a checklist for yourself. Okay. Okay, what would you be testing for? Okay, let me test that the application, the username should not be alphanumerics. That's a checklist, meaning it shouldn't have special characters and numbers, forming a name. It's a checklist. You put it on your checklist, okay? Then the password should comprise of alphanumerics with special characters. You put it as a checklist in order to fortify the login functionality of that particular application, because we all know that banking or financial application is very, very it's on the high risk, so we need to fortify the way to handle the login functionality. You put it on your checklist, okay? Okay, you might say, okay, do you know what you want to have? What's it called? How did they call it now? The barcode, in order to fortify the logging into the application, you have the barcode. You put it as part of your checklist. So it's also a checklist-based application, especially when you are coming into a project that really don't have a formal documentation, and you are an experienced person, and you've looked at the user stories during the sprint planning, then you just come with a checklist. These are the checklists you need to follow, that you need to tick, in order for you to derive or verify that particular application is being tested, securely. So that are some of the, things that go into checklist, okay, which is the checklist-based testing, okay? You just have your pen and paper, or you have a paper or a document where you've already come up with a checklist that you are going to be marking, with respect to that particular application and that test. Does that answer your question? Hello?
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So again, just to reiterate, exploratory testing is when we don't have a formal documentation, and you just explore that particular application they are giving to you. You open that application, when you enter your username and password, it should navigate you to a particular page. Then when you search for stuff, you just go on the fly, just be exploring it to see. As you are exploring, you are creating your requirements, you are creating your test scenarios, While error guessing, you just be guessing. Okay, I know if I put in special characters in username text box, it's not going to go. It's not going to fly. It's going to reject it. So you guess, what about if I don't secure my SS when you are doing your payment gateway, if you put in wrong visa digits, it's not complete. It's going to bounce back. It's not going to go in. So you just be guessing those errors that would occur if you do some negative, testing and everything. Then you just begin to write it down. Okay. For example, you guess if you are doing a registration on a particular application, if you don't give the mandatory fields, if you leave it empty, it's going to prompt you to fill the mandatory field. You are guessing the error in the first place before you enter this. So if you put in, if you leave it blank and you click enter and it opens the application, then that's a serious bug. So you begin to guess, and you begin to write your test cases and write your user stories. So that's for our experience-based test techniques, okay? And these are the benefits of experience-based testing, as I've always said. The adaptability, they can be easily adapted to different projects or environment based on the tester's experience and insights. If a tester is very, very experienced, it can adapt to different projects, be it greenfield projects, be it data migration projects in different environment. If it is, in data migration environment, if it is in fintech environment, if it is in IT environment, he is sure to own his game by, actually, coming up with a whole lot of experience, to make sure, that particular application is well tested. So effective risk mitigation, by focusing on areas with higher risks or historical issues, these techniques can help reduce the likelihood of critical defects going undetected. And that is what experience-based testing is all about, because you are like the user of that particular application, and it's so experienced when it comes to usability testing because it's always interacting with that particular application, so he knows, the likelihood of critical defects going undetected. So he's able to focus on some areas, some edge cases, to test for complete coverage of that particular application. So that is so much for experience-based testing techniques. So we have the fourth, which is the last one, which is the collaboration-based test approaches. This came into the picture recently, as I said, when I started, is that the eyes, for those of you that wants to do the certification, well, I did mine, like 10 years ago. So I saw that there are so many changes, but when you do your ISQB, it's for life, the one I did with British Computer Society. But this particular syllabus was not there because then automation was just coming up, So they've, included, these agile methodology, syllabus related, subjects into it, and which is very, very fantastic. So collaboration-based test approach involve working closely with various stakeholders, such as developers, product owners, business analysts, and other team members to define, design, and execute tests. The primary goal is to ensure that all aspects of the application are well understood, tested, and validated by leveraging the collective knowledge and expertise of the entire team. These approaches emphasizes communication, shared understanding, and collaboration throughout the software development lifecycle from requirement gathering to test execution. With time, we are in an agile environment. That's what we practice Scrum, Agile. That's what we practice here in BlueSky and also Kanban, but we're practicing Agile. And what this collaboration-based test approach is all about Agile methodology with Scrum framework, okay? Because just quickly, before the coming of Agile into the testing arena, there weren't so much collaboration, communication among teams. Everybody individually, individual people were just working in silos. Individual, stakeholders within that particular that is working on that project were just working on silos. But I think Agile came into the picture and changed the whole scenario whereby everybody is one. When you say Scrum, everybody has to Scrum together. Everybody has to collaborate. It has to be one team. Everybody has to have a shared responsibility. So that was why it's so very, very, so exciting to see that this particular syllable has been added into IISTQB. Because this is the methodology the companies all over the world are navigating to, that they are embracing, which is Agile Scrum. So the key principles of collaboration-based text approaches. One is early involvement. Testers participate early in the project, even during the requirement gathering phase, to provide input and ensure that testability is considered from the beginning. Just like what is practiced here, even during backlog grooming, developers are advised to be there. Testers are required to be with the PO and the business analyst during when they are doing their backlog grooming before they commit any, user stories into the sprint. Because you are practicing shift left approach by doing that. Because the testing, when it comes to the InQA, it becomes easier for you to test because the idea of you participating with them with respect to backlog grooming, sprint planning, looking at the acceptance criteria, looking at the user stories, you making contributions, you making comments, raising some concerns, the team then will be able to synergize and make an informed, decision to go forward the particular user stories that have been groomed, that has been agreed upon to move into the committed column. So it's very, very important for testers to always ask to be part of the backlog grooming, because then you can be able to see stories that you don't understand, then you can give your input and also give your comments and also see how everybody can work together to make sure that particular story is testable, so that at the end of the day, we have, a testable and executable test cases that will make us to meet up with the sprint goal. It's very, very important. So that early involvement is very, very key. Early involvement is very, very key. You have to be very, very passionate about involving yourself as a tester in early grooming, in early refinement. It is very, very user stories refinement. a backlog room, it is very, very important. And even when the developer is developing their application, try to be part of it, try to communicate to see, how the code base is, what needs to be tested, because you are going to look into that particular application and also do you are going to inspect elements, you are going to use some of those code base to create your automation test scripts as well. So it's very, very important. Then another key principle is active communication. Continuous communication among team members to discuss issues, clarify requirements, and adjust testing plans as necessary. Now, it is, when I was looking at the state of testing, there's a blog, and you have to put in there what is most a priority to your organizations and everything. The first priority that gathered the most percentage high mark over there is communication. So ability for you to communicate with your team members, is very, very key. Very, 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 very key. So that means nobody is working in a silo. You have to always communicate with your Scrum Master, with your developer, with your business analyst, just to know what is up, and also to make them to understand your situation with respect to your state of testing and how well you can meet up with the sprint goal. If you are not able, so you communicate on time for them to know, so that, because whatever you do without communication, it has, a negative effect on the general performance of the team, and also it affects the project timeline as well. So active communication is very, very key. So we have shared ownership. As I said, the entire team takes responsibility for quality, not just the testers, developers, business analysts, and other stakeholders are involved in testing activity. Okay? As I said, you have to have the mindset of shift left, and also you have to make sure you are part of that particular backlog grooming, because it's all about quality. And the idea of probably the product owner or the business analyst will say you are prognosing, that's very, very unagile. If they're having this mentality of, oh, why is it coming into our business? That is not agile. That is not agile. Agile is very transparent. We don't have anything to hide. The board is transparent. Anybody can go into your board and look at what you've been doing, because there's a shared ownership. So if, for example, you are supposed to test and you've already allocated like how many points, like say 2 points or 3 points or 1 point, that particular story is supposed to be tested and dusted within hours or maximum 1 day. But if it is in second day, it's still there, then your burn down chart is not looking okay, because it has been configured to be, you are going to you've assigned a story point to that particular story, which is 1 or 2. So if that story is still in QA for days, then it's going to look ugly on your burn down chart, the efforts. So someone can come and say, hey, Harold, what's going on? Are you okay? Because we don't know what's going on. So that person has to take responsibility to check on you, to check on the story, to know what's going on, to see how they can be able to help, to see how they can be able to, create a situation where someone can come in and assist you, so that no part of that particular team will suffer. So everybody takes responsibility for everybody. Each and every one of us, we are responsible for every one of us. So that's what this collaboration-based testing approaches emphasizes. Okay. The feedback loop, which is very important, a rapid feedback circle where test results are shared with the team regularly, allowing for quick fixes and adjustments to be made, which is very key. So we make feedback loop very, very important as best it could be. Very, very important, so that we will know where we are, so that we will know how to tackle things when things go south. Okay. So those are some of the key principles, and we'll look at the examples of collaboration-based test approach right now. Collaborative user story writing. In agile development, just as I said, user stories are used to describe functionality from the user's perspective. Collaboration-based testing involves multiple stakeholders like developers, testers, product owners, and business analysts, writing the user stories together. In a real agile environment, we all write the test cases together. Then the PO and the business analyst will take responsibility for those stories that have been written. So, and you can see that you will save yourself the effort not to make mistake, because we all collectively will make sure those stories are stories that are testable, that can create the right result within the sprint, and that can make us have, a good working software. So there's a collaboration, among, the developers, in writing user stories. So acceptance criteria as well is one example of collaboration-based test approach. Acceptance criteria define the conditions that a feature must meet to be considered complete. Collaboration between stakeholders, product owners, developers, and testers is essential to writing clear, measurable, and testable acceptance criteria. We all know I'm very, very passionate about involving in sprint planning, and I always look at acceptance criteria. That is me. I'm always looking at the acceptance criteria. Even after the committed stories have been approved, I always look at acceptance. Can I test this? Can I be able to test this? Because in as much as we are agile, but we are still trying to make the best out of our skills and our experience, right? It might go a little bit more complicated for the developer to develop and for the tester to test. So that's why it's very important for us to always have a conversation among the stakeholders on how acceptance criteria should be crafted in order for us to have the complete test coverage. It's very key. Then we have the acceptance test-driven development, ATDD. It's a collaboration-based approach where tests are written before the code is developed. Developer, testers, and business representatives define the expected behavior of the software through acceptance test. Okay, ADD is a kind of development-driven approach whereby developer most especially begin to write test cases even before the code is developed. They write test cases even though it fails. If the test case, if their code fails, they will refactor the code, continue to refactor, and refactor till the code passes. Okay, that is it about acceptance test-driven development. Okay, and
okay.
Hello.
This
Hello?
ATDD,
Yes.
please explain it again.
Yes, I said acceptance test-driven development, right? It's a concept of test-driven approach that involves developer writing codes or writing tests before that code is developed. What that means is that they will look at user story, for example, before that user story is being developed, they will begin to write tests concerning that particular
So
user
is
story.
it developer writing code?
Yes, developer writing it, okay? Now, that's the whole essence, right? But don't forget, I said that we testers, we are beginning to have a little bit of coding ideas that we must be concerned about because we are now into automation tests. Do you understand? Before, testers they don't do automation tests years back. But now we are now part of the development team. That means we should know how to write codes because we are now doing automation. And when we are doing automation, we should know, not that we must know, we should know the core Java programming. Core, meaning just enough for testing, not the advanced Java. So if we are going into automation, and we know that most times here when we are automating, we play with codes, we play with backends, we look at backends, we look, oh, is this HTML codes or JavaScript codes, or is this application developed in React, or is it developed with Angular, or is it a TypeScript application? We should have a knowledge of it because we are going to look into those codes. We're going to write codes too. Do you understand? To develop our automation scripts, right? So now, to further expatiate on what you just asked, is that now we are now writing tests. Do you understand? We are now developing codes. We are now writing tests rather before the code is developed. Do you understand? What that means is that when the developer, let me use the developer as a scenario, write test, he will make sure the test pass, but when the test fails, he will begin to refactor that particular test or writing codes. Do you understand?
Is it like if the BAs finish writing their user stories, then testers begin to write their codes?
Now,
Or developers develop.
now, even we don't just as I explained.
Daddy,
What?
the typing's not working.
I'm talking. So at the end of the day, what this means is that we don't wait anymore for business analysts to finish their stories. Okay? We need to be there to know what they are writing, to participate, to contribute, to know how they are writing it, for us to be able to raise some concerns, raise some ideas, make some comments, because we are looking at how we can test that particular user story. Do you understand? We can't just, it's no longer, they need to just write it and just push it to, you understand? You as a tester, you need to be part of it. Else, the test sometimes might be difficult for you to test because of the way they must have written it. Do you understand? They might not know. But by the time you bring your own contribution into it, and they'll say that, oh, okay, fine, this can go, this can fly. Do you understand? Okay, this is even a better way of doing it. Do you understand?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Like in our case, the BlueSky Citadel, we're not there to write it with them if they are writing, but we review after they must have finished.
Okay, no, with time, I believe you are new to it, but with time, this is the culture. You understand? It is the culture whereby you participate to make sure everything is okay. Okay, so that's it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Then yes, that is so that's it. With time, we're gonna go into it deeper, just on the fly, high level. That's what we're doing now. So the benefit of collaboration-based test approach, it improves understanding Collaborating early and continuously ensures that everyone has a shared understanding of the requirement and functionality, reducing ambiguity and misunderstanding. And another benefit is faster issue resolution. By involving everyone, as I said, in the testing process, issues are identified and resolved faster because of the diverse expertise, and perspective that the team brings. Higher test coverage. When multiple stakeholders are involved in the test design process, just as I speak, they are more likely to identify areas that need testing, which can lead to higher test coverage. Since the entire team is responsible, since the entire team is responsible for quality, collaboration-based approach often results in higher quality software and more comprehensive testing. Okay, so we have the last one, which is not the last one now. It's agile friendly. The approach fits perfectly in an agile environment. This collaboration-based test approach. Okay, so we will look at the test strategy. I'll just quickly run through this one. The test strategy is a high-level document that outlines, the approach, the goals, the resources and scope of testing activity for a particular software development project. Okay, we'll go more deeply into this in subsequent meetings. So the test strategy defines the overall testing objective. It identifies the testing type that will be employed and provide guidelines for how testing will be conducted during the software development lifecycle. Okay, the test strategy ensures that the testing is aligned with business goals and it helps in achieving desired quality for the software products. It is typically created at the beginning of a project or phase, and it serves as a reference document for the entire testing team and other stakeholders involved in project. Okay, and these are the components of test strategy. We have the test objective. We have the scope of testing, the testing type. We have the functional testing, the performance testing. That's the type of testing we will be conducting as part of the test strategy document. We have the security testing, the regression testing, and also all of these. So we have the user acceptance testing, and also, sorry. So we have the test deliverables under test strategy, test environment, we have the testing tools, we have the test schedules, the risks and mitigations, which we're going to go into the next subsequent meeting, and also the roles and the responsibility.
Okay.
Okay, so we still have the entry and the exit criteria under the test strategies. The entry and the exit criteria. We'll look at the test metrics and the defect management. It's a complete document that I will be sharing with you people and be talking more into it, because when you see the complete document, that's when you will, see how it looks like. Okay, so the test strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the test strategy is a comprehensive document that sets the direction for the testing process throughout the software development lifecycle. It provides a structured approach to testing, helping the testing team align their activities with business goals and ensuring that testing is done efficiently and effectively. Having a clear and well-documented test strategy ensures that the software is tested thoroughly, reducing the risk of defects in production and ensuring the final product meets both functional and non-functional requirements. Okay, let's quickly just look at the test plan. So these are the two documents that's going to be created by you testers, okay?
Because I was about to ask, I was thinking for this project, would have started with the test strategy and test plan before any other thing. I thought this would have been the first thing.
Not really, because it's already available, but it's something that you need to know because it's something that is already there. Do you understand? But it's
I
something
thought we
that you
start
need to
with
know.
it, with preparing it before we go into, further.
To me,
Or
it
go
can
into
if
the proper. That was what I thought.
yeah. To me, it also doesn't take away the fact that it can still be done. Do you understand? In as much that it has been done previously without your knowledge, but it can still be done. And I believe going forward, you're going to get some assignments on that, how to create a test
So you're going to
strategy.
teach us how to do it.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely going forward.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. So this is just the theoretical explanation of it.
Sorry, 1 minute. In fact, you've already got an assignment, because yeah, you are meant to do test strategy for your team and a test plan for the team for your project. Okay, as you know that everything that we taught here, there is practical aspect. That's the major thing. To be honest, you could just pick a book and read this, All right.
Yes.
So, but the major thing is for you to now pick a project. You have a project and you apply this on it. Do you get it now? So that will be something that you need to do before end of this particular sprint. Okay. So creating test plan and also test strategy. But one thing I want to say, test plan is fading away gradually, right? But test strategy is not. What do I mean by that? Because of the fact that there is different test tools right now that got test plan incorporated. For instance, Azure Developers got its own test plan, right? So people don't do test plan a lot of time anymore, right? But at interview, they might ask you, right, what is a component of a test plan? You need to be able to say all these numbers and and also explain what they mean, right? Okay. So, and if you get to work, if you decide not to create it, that's fine. But test strategy is very, very important. And in fact, some companies that are working on waterfall would also ask you to do test plan. So you need to know how to do that. In summary, you need to create a test plan and a test strategy for your team. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Deji. So going forward, that will be we'll have a conversation, a broader conversation about that, and if you need more information on that, we'll be giving you guys on that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So just as I said, a test plan. Okay. So we have already said that test plan is something that is a plan, it's a document that outlines the approach, the scope, the resources, the schedule, and activities required for testing a software product. It is created to define how testing will be conducted, what will be tested, who will perform the test, why they will be done, when they will be done, and what criteria must be met for successful completion. So the test plan provides a structured approach to testing, and is typically created before the start of every testing phase. So just on a high level, the components of a test plan, we have the test plan identifier. It's a unique identifier for the test plan, ensuring it can be easily referenced, okay? We have the introduction and the overview, component of the test plan is a brief description of the system to be tested and the objective of the testing process. It may also include the purpose and scope of the testing, highlighting the key areas that will be tested and any constraints. So we have the test objective component that is the specific goals that the testing process intends to achieve, such as verifying functionality, performance, security, and etc. So we still have the test scope, which defines the boundaries of testing, specifying what will be tested, that is in scope, and what will not be tested, which is also the out of scope. This can include specific features or system or areas of functionality. Okay. Then we have the test approach, as part of the component, test plan component, which describes the overall strategy for testing, including the types of testing to be used, be it functional, non-functional, regression, performance, or security testing, okay? The test techniques employed, again, which could be boundary value analysis, equivalent partitioning, and so on and so forth, and also the tools that will be used. So we have other additional components like test criteria, where we'll have the entry and exit criteria, also the test deliverables, the documents and the artifacts produced during and after testing, such as test cases, test script, test data, test log, defect report, and final test summary reports. Okay, these are traditional way of reporting, which is very, very fundamental in our test deliverables. As a tester, you must have deliverables. You must be able to present some documents to the stakeholders of what has been tested, how it has been tested, and all whatnot will be in that particular test summary reports. Of course, we have the component, the test environment is one of the components of test plan, where the description of the hardware, software, network configurations, and test data needed to run the test. This includes specifying the operating system, the database, the browsers, the devices, and other, important test environment that will be involved within this component. I'll have the test schedule. It's a timeline outlining the major testing activities and milestones. This includes deadlines for writing test cases, executing tests, fixing defects, and reporting results. So resources and roles, details of the personnel who will be involved in testing, their roles and responsibilities. This includes test engineers, test lead, and other stakeholders. We have the test data component of the test plan, which requires for executing the test. It includes both real and synthetic data, ensuring it covers a variety of test scenarios. We have the risks and contingencies component, which, this speaks about the potential risks that could affect testing, such as time constraint, missing resources, or incomplete requirement. It also includes strategies for mitigating this risk. So we have the communication and reporting component of the test plan, which defines how test results and progress will be communicated to the stakeholders. This includes reporting mechanisms, frequency of status updates, and method for tracking and managing defects. Okay. And lastly, we have the defect management, which describes how defects will be tracked, prioritized, and managed during testing. This includes tools used for defect management, like like Jira, but we use Azure DevOps for our own defect management, like Bugzilla. I just put that there, and the defect lifecycle process as well. So this is pretty much what we will be covering tonight yet. So I will stop sharing, and if you have any question, please let me know, okay? So does anyone have questions regarding this? Alex, Are you on call? If you're on call, do you understand the presentation? Are you okay? Do you have any concerns? So they say, are you okay? Do you understand the topic for today?
If Arad, if they are not asking, just throw one or two questions and let them answer you, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay. Abimbola, are you there? Are you okay? Hello? Okay.
Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you follow the lecture? And if you do, how did you find it?
It was fine. I just stepped out to use the bathroom briefly.
Okay. But it was fine, okay?
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah, it's recorded, okay? You can go to it, and also if you have any issues, you can look into it. And if there are some questions you will like to ask after now, you can catch up with me on the QAQ, okay?
Yeah,
And
thank you
also,
very much.
please, I always emphasize, let us always go back to videos, past videos to watch. It will help a lot. It will help, okay?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right, Deji, your hand is up.
Yeah, what I would want to say is everyone should kind of search for test plan template or test strategy template, right? I don't want to say initially I want to say maybe Arod should give you one, right? But what I found in the tempers, like when tutors give you a template, you start depending on it. Next time you want another tutor or the tutor to give you a template, right? So, but this template you can actually get them yourself anyway. So, which I think is something that you should do anyway. So if you can search for a template individually, right? Then so next week when we come back, right? Arod, if you can start from there, so
Okay,
everyone should share what they've done, right?
okay,
And after that, it's gonna be then you can consolidate, right?
okay,
Because it's only going to be one per team anyway. Test strategy is done one per team. Sometimes it's even done one for the whole organization, right?
okay,
It's not individual for person that you have to do it. But however, on this platform, you have to do yours individually first, right? And get feedback on what you've done. So that would be the task for everyone before next week. Is clear? And also put that on the Azure board, okay? That individual person you need to do test strategy, okay? Any question on that?
Yes, just to get you, just to reiterate what you just said, is it only text strategy they need to do or both?
Both, thank you.
Both, okay.
Mm.
So please, I think that is clear enough, and I believe majority of you are on the call. Just please take note that you next meeting, you're gonna be demoing the test strategy and test plan, so that we'll see how it goes and see how we can be able to put the support on that, okay? Is that clear, Alex?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Adeze, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to hold some people on the wrist. BLD, is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
True.
clear.
Okay, Victor, thank you very much. Let me look who's on the call.
Are you a QA again?
Who is that?
No, sir.
Okay. Because some
Who is
people,
the
some people even I don't know their name. I know their voice actually. So
really?
yeah, that voice is unique. I
Yeah.
know her voice anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what?
Maiwa, is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But I want to ask, it made mention of template. What kind of template do you mean that we should use?
Okay. Do you want to answer that?
Okay, all right. So can someone share the screen, please, quickly? You just want to Google it so that you can see what I'm looking for. You will see a lot online, right? Anyone?
I can share my video
Okay,
if you want.
please. Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
It's still coming up.
What about now?
Yeah, okay, it's fine now. So just open google.com. Okay, then type test strategy template or sample. Yeah, let's check for template first.
Sample or template?
Template. Let's go for template first. Okay. Another thing. Okay, go to the at the search, put DOC, or you can select using it. Okay, select word at the bottom, right? No, go back. I think you can see there's word. See word at the top. Up more. Yeah,
Okay,
word.
word.
Yeah. So the type is word. So we can. Okay. So yeah, select the first one. Let's see what you get. Okay. All right. So this is test strategy template. Yeah. Okay. So select the first one. Let's see. Download the file. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. This is an example. This is a template. You can see test strategy template. So hold on before you go. So you see each of the lines at the top. Yeah. Product revision overview. Describe your product revision. Yeah. So basically at that line, you describe your product. What are you developing? Do you get it now? Product history. I don't think that's necessary, but you can then put some history of the product, right? So what are the features that you are testing? Do you get? And the next one, what
Yeah.
are the features you are not testing? Okay. What is the configuration environment? You got an environment. What system methodology are you using? Right, that is one. So all those things is what you just need to fill based on your product, what you are developing. Do you get it now?
Okay.
Okay. So if you go back now, go back to uh where you were before. Yeah, the next tab. Yeah. So you can okay, you can select let's check another one, right? Let's check the 01. Some of them are quite simpler. Okay, let's check the sample, right? That my okay, may we go back again. Yeah, I like this one. This is I think this might even be better. Scroll down, right? Yeah, this could be better anyway. Scroll down, let's see. Yeah, but I don't think it's got a lot of things that is required. This is yeah, scroll up. No, some of the things are not necessary anyway. Yeah, so don't use this one. Go back again. Let's check another one. The first one is okay, but this one I don't think. Yeah, because there's some standard that you need to adhere to by, I think, 𝐖𝐈𝐓 829 standard, right? Which is Institute of is it engineering or something like that? Yeah. So select the example one, test strategy example.
I just can download.
Okay, yeah, open it. Okay, expand it. Okay, all right. So this is okay. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, all right. Hold on. So you can see this one, right, which I think is good. Scroll up a bit, right? So this one give the description of what you're expecting you to write, right? And then give you like a template to use, right? Saying the purpose of this document is to outline the high-level test strategy for the project. You put your project inside the name of the project, and it now explains. Do you get it now? So it's already giving you some insight on what you should write inside. Do you get it now? So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
scroll down more, right, let's see. So reference document, okay, that's fine. Scroll down more. Yeah, so you can see the scope now. Yeah. So it's saying the scope include the overview of the feature operation environment, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So yeah. So based on your knowledge about the project, right, you just fill in this anyway. So but I'm not expecting it to be perfect. You're going to be updating it as you go along. As you know more on the project, you are going to be adding more. And to be honest, this document will probe your thoughts on the project. It's going to elaborate. It's going to open your mind on everything that you need to know about the project, because you have to put them on this document. Do you get it now?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Any question?
Yeah. So just to ask and be clear again, so what are the 2 points we are writing on again?
The test strategy, this one, right? And also you do the
Yeah,
same
test
thing
strategy.
for the test plan.
Okay, so test strategy and test plan.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So if you go back to
I-
Google again, 1 minute, go back to Google, right? You can even, the one that you click back.
Oh,
Yeah, no, yeah, and click back. Yeah. Use. No, no, no. Yeah, click back on this one. Yeah. So now, if you put sample instead of template with examples. Yeah. So this one might give you a full sample of how it should look like, right? So press and put DOC at the end, maybe, yeah. DOCX. So that will give you what document? DOCX S for Xmas.
Oh,
Yeah. Press enter. Okay. So check the Amazon one. So that is Amazon test strategy. So as you can see, it's actually from Amazon website as well. So this is their own test strategy, right? Maybe this is their template or blah, blah. No, I don't even know. Anyway, or maybe someone actually did it. If you scroll down and see what they put in there. Scroll down, down more. Okay, this seems to be a template as well, so it doesn't, yeah. So let's go back again to to the Google, right? But there will be some of them that, yeah, you would, it's already filled out. It is a sample, right? So maybe just put sample instead of sample test strategy. Yeah. Leave the docx anyway, because you want to get the document. Sample test strategy.
Sample test strategy.
Or just, let's say test strategy, remove, yeah. Remove with a sample. Yeah. And let's see if you have space. Yeah. So we can see probably test strategy of different companies. Scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, let's see that farm service agency.
Which one?
The one down, the last one.
Okay, farm service agency.
Okay, scroll down. Okay. This one is still kind of like a template, but it's got some other information they already filled up. So scroll down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, they've already filled some information for you, as you can see, right? So what you need to do now is to adapt it for what you are looking for, right? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Well, which one? Okay. We typed test strategy document, yeah.
What do you say? Are you referring to me, Adesi?
No, you typed test strategy document.
Yeah, the last one I typed, test strategy.
Okay. DOCX.
Let me go back. Yeah, test strategy DOCX.
DOCX. Okay, so you selected what is it? Something farm. What is it again?
This one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. You can look down anyway, so you can select anyone. I just use that one as an example anyway. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Harold, as well. So well done. Thank you. Okay.
It was a long one.
All right. I think that's us then. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll meet next time, okay?
Yeah, thank you.